Be still and live in the realization of your power. This is the 7-Minute Daily Focus, day 24 of 365. Be still and live in the realization of your power. Today's focus, the authority of inner presence, the power behind all translation. Presence is not emotion. Presence is not posture. Presence is not outward confidence. Presence is the internal power that governs translation. Presence is the unmoved center of the subjective state, the place from which reality expresses itself through you. Presence is not created, it is present. Presence is not built, it is acknowledged. Presence is not summoned, it is recognized. Presence is the inner stillness where the completed self stands. Hill wrote, "Self-confidence begins with inner awareness." I concur with the statement with refinement. Presence is the awareness of actuality, the self already complete. Pause for a moment. Close your physical eyes. Shift into the first sense. Sense the truth beneath the surface. Presence is not reactive, it is active. Presence does not respond to the 5 senses. It governs them. Presence is not disturbed by appearance. It directs appearance. Presence belongs to reality, not the physical world. Presence belongs to the subjective state, not the objective state. Presence belongs to the metaphysical, not the physical or material. Thus, presence is the power behind all translation. Understand this principle. Translation equals the process by which reality becomes appearance. And translation does not begin with thought or action or condition. Translation begins with presence, the inner stance of the completed self. Thought is the interpreter of the metaphysical presence of the mind. Thus, presence is the substance of thought. When presence is fractured, translation is unstable. When presence is strong, translation is effortless. And when presence is unified, translation is accurate, Wattles taught. The world responds to the mental attitude you hold. I concur with the statement with refinement. The world responds to presence, the identity you stand as. Presence is not what you think, presence is what you are. Presence is not your feeling. Presence is your being. Presence is not your wish. Presence is your actuality. Walk deeper into this reality literacy. The 5 senses create reaction. Presence creates recognition. The 5 senses report changes. Presence remains constant. The 5 senses interpret physical form. Presence perceives identity. Presence is the silent command behind all you translate into the objective state. When presence leads, the physical world adjusts. When presence weakens, the physical world becomes loud. When presence stabilizes, appearance aligns. Hill insisted, calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. I concur with the statement with elevation. Calm presence is the metaphysical driven mind's authority, the power that shapes appearance. Consider this. Presence is the self that does not move. Presence is the identity that does not break. Presence is the actuality that does not change. Presence is the foundation of your subjective state. Subjective state is the foundation of your translation, and translation is the foundation of your appearance. Thus, presence is the beginning of everything physically visible. Presence is the inner command that appearance must obey. Presence is the metaphysical signature that shapes the physical world. Presence is the still point from which reality flows into physical form. So today, return to presence, stand in presence, remain in presence. Hold the inner stillness of actuality. For presence is the power behind all translation. Let me deepen this reality literacy of inner presence, widening its authority and revealing why it governs every movement of appearance. Presence is not merely awareness, it is position. It is the stance of the completed identity, unmoved by conditions and untouched by the fluctuations of the objective state. Presence is the silent place where actuality lives. Wattles hinted at this principle when he wrote, "Stand by your purpose and do not be moved." He was describing presence, the inner steadiness that refuses to shift from what is real. Hill echoed the same principle. What you hold in your mind will gravitate into your life. I concur with the statement with refinement. What you hold as presence becomes the instruction appearance must follow. Sense this truth, allow it to permeate. Presence is the environment of being. It is the atmosphere of the subjective state. When presence is intact, your entire metaphysical reality is aligned. Identity stabilizes, state strengthens, translation becomes smooth, and appearance follows without resistance. Presence is not urgency. Presence is not intensity. Presence is not force. Presence is stillness. Presence is certainty. And presence is completion held without movement. It is the refusal to let the five senses invade the subjective state. It is the refusal to let the objective state instruct reality. It is the refusal to let temporary conditions disturb timeless actuality, and the physical world always rearranges itself around the one who stands in presence. Affirmation for day 24. My presence is power. My presence directs appearance. My presence holds actuality, and my presence translates reality into physical form.